Hello, so this is the third video in kind of a mini series on Adobe After Effects. This one is how to kind of do very basic edits and adding stuff to the timeline. So it's easy to add stuff to the timeline. You find it in your bin. If you don't know how to import it, watch the previous video on how to import. So I'm going to select these two videos and drop them on the timeline. Now, if you remember in the first video, I told you about selecting kind of the formats of the video. I always just ignore that and change it at this point because I use about 15 different video cameras, all of them with a different aspect ratio. So what I do is I always import it and then tell my timeline to match it to my videos that I've made. So because I'm recording my screen, the resolution is a lot higher than the resolution of my video cameras. So telling it to match will kind of make things line up perfectly. So I have just dragged things onto the timeline, and these are these two videos in their entirety. If you want to only import kind of a certain section of it, there are two ways of doing it. My preferred method is importing it into the timeline and then using the cut tool and cutting the section that I want and then deleting the sections that I don't. Now that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is if you double click on a file, it will load up in the preview screen. Now on the preview screen you can mark in a section and you can mark out. So what I've done here by using the mark in and mark out is I've told this file I only want that section. So now when I click and drag it in, all I've got is that section. Personally, I don't use this method of doing it. I prefer the chopping and changing one because if I get something wrong, the original file is there in its entirety and I can make it bigger by finding the edge and dragging it back out. If you use this method, while you can drag it back out, it causes issues when you have kind of multi-layered, multi-track videos, so I personally avoid doing it. So I've imported two videos and I've cut them down to how I want them. What I need to do now is move me out of the way so you can see down here. I want to add some effects. Now, I won't talk you through all of the effects as there are quite a lot. The basic things that you need are under video transitions and dissolves, so that's where you get your standard dip to black transition. Is that you say you can do slightly more wacky things like a 3D motion door that you say is hideous and I don't know why any sane person would ever use it. You can also do the good old Star Wars prequels wipe. If you've seen the Star Wars prequels, you'll realise that they used an awful lot of wipes. In the next video I'm going to tell you very briefly about audio transitions.